Yes, hi, hello, welcome back to Gooncast, your favorite Goonie podcast that's run by a bunch of goons. I'm James, also known as Saber0307 on Twitch and a bunch of other shit. And I'm once again joined by the other goons. Hi, goons.
The signs of your psychological deterioration are becoming very evident through these intros over the months.
Absolutely.
There's only so many ways I can introduce us, and it just
Well,
dead inside.
I am Kat, aka the Attack Cat on Twitch. I'm a dialogue designer by day, writer slash horror artist slash whatever the fuck by night.
And it's your boy Lee Alder the Valley Jester, fantasy and horror writer and enthusiast. And we got an interesting trifecta today. We've got a fine example of high art.
Yep.
A fine example of a shoulder shrug.
Yeah.
And a fine example of a burning dumpster behind a Wendy's.
Oh, whoa. That's a big disservice to a burning dumpster
I'm sorry.
behind a Wendy's.
Arby's.
That's a disservice to an Arby's, alright. This is fucking shit. This is a burning dumpster that the UN wants to ban. God
So we have feelings today.
Strong feelings.
Clearly there's gonna be some hostility, which I think is mostly shared, although I think kind of our reasons might be pretty like individually our own. I really haven't seen too many people bring up a lot of the things that we've brought up to each other, but either way, it's not as bad as Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2020.
Nothing is.
I don't know. It might be that for me because that.
Oh, damn.
It's longer rule.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're. Damn you, Jay.
I mean, it was Texas Chainsaw. It was a slow 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was 90 minutes. It wasn't 8 fucking hours.
All right. Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves though, because first we're gonna talk about our shrug.
Yep.
Which we watched Black Phone.
Yeah. Ooh.
The new hotness.
New hotness.
The new hotness with that really striking poster with the grinning face, and nobody knows a thing about it. You just see the face and you go, oh, that looks creepy. I guess I'll see that.
Yeah. And to be honest, when we were kind of like recapping like 20 minutes ago, like, all right, what are we talking about? What are we doing? What are we saying? I was like, okay, we got the first one, we got the second one, and what the hell was the third one we were going to talk about? I think that kind of accurately sums up my feelings on this movie. We all have also seen the Red Letter Media review at this point, and I think all of us are probably a little more negative than they are on it.
Yeah. I mean, the first half hour is kind of slow and boring. I get the setup, but it also does a lot of generic Stephen King bullying shit, and considering that it's based off of a short story by Stephen King's son, that makes sense.
It's a little more forgivable in that regard, but at the same time, it's one of those things where like that this has kind of become like the hack writer's favorite trope. Yeah. Where I feel like every time we sit down to watch kind of like a time period horror movie or a time period like 80s nostalgia or 90s nostalgia or, you know, even slightly earlier in this case, I think it's set in the 70s.
Yeah.
70s.
We always end up with like these generic Stephen King bullies.
Yeah, and that's something I'm getting very, very tired of very quickly.
Yeah, same.
I understand that they're trying to create this very like visceral level of violence. You know, there's something that's just so unforgiving about a child being, you know, beaten by a bunch of his peers. Because there's sort of that, like, you know, how do you appeal to that mob sensibility? Because they're a bunch of kids. They don't even understand really what they're doing.
But like, here's the thing. I think, and you know, I say this like one of my examples is even going to be from Stephen King. So like, even Stephen King gets away from his own tropes every once in a while. But like, even the portrayal of the bully character in It, at least the new remake, and also you know, like, I don't know, there are just, I feel like there are ways to do bullies that are a little more interesting. Like, go full Biff Tannen for once. Just be complete ham cheeseball villain bully. Yeah, like, I don't care. Do something different other than just these, like,
Yeah, like I'm gonna jump you in the bathroom and beat you until you have a bloody nose and then laugh at you. What happened to like I'm gonna steal your dog and fuck your dad? Like let's up the ante a little bit here.
I think we want different things from our movie bullies,
get
Lee.
creative.
Yeah, let's get weird. Let's get weird with our bullies.
I am
Pennywise would be like, I don't want any of this.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm out. Y'all can, write a different story. I don't care.
You are what I'm scared of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we all kind of mostly dug like a lot of the middle portion of the movie.
Yeah. So the general plot line here is we get like a very long half-hour establishing period of a brother and sister who have an alcoholic, abusive father.
Mm-hmm.
The sister has psychic abilities. She's an empath. And the boy just gets the shit beaten out of him for 25 minutes.
And the girl briefly. That was a little surprising.
It was equal opportunity abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And
not even from the dad too. Like those fucking bullies. Man.
There were ass kickings aplenty.
Yes.
And throughout the tone setting, we're establishing that a bunch of kids are getting kidnapped by a local prowler, who does eventually get the main boy, and that is the long-winded prologue that kicks off the chunk of this story, which is this boy has been kidnapped and he's trying to escape his captor.
Yep.
So one of my biggest kind of like flaws with this movie is that very much a lot of the kind of like, setup felt like a short story lengthened to feature length.
Mm-hmm.
And, and that's what this was. But, especially knowing that and then seeing the resulting film, it's like, yeah, you can kind of tell it's got some pacing issues in that department.
Yeah.
I think there are ways to make that work. I think Gerald's Game is a short story, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And I think that had very good pacing, but this one just kind of fell flat in that department for me. And I bring that up because I don't know. I've never read the short story, so I don't know what parts of it were, like basically a shot-for-shot adaptation kind of thing. But I have a feeling it's this middle chunk.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's the middle chunk and probably a portion of the ending.
Yes.
I don't know if the sister's in the short story, but it kind of felt tacked on and unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Because then we get the very interesting part, which I think we all agreed with, was the part where the kid is in the basement and he's trying to basically figure out how to get out, and he starts getting phone calls from this like old disconnected black phone, and the phone calls are from the previous kidnapped kids who are now all dead.
Yep.
And there was a really cool kind of moment with like how these ghosts, these echoes were set up, where they were literally repeating dialogue we had heard them say previously, like in their waking life, right? So there was some element. I've heard that the short story is a little more ambiguous in terms of whether or not it's supernatural or it's like, the kid envisioning this. Sort of like my favorite Stephen King short story, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, where it might all just be in a kid who's dying and lost in the woods' head.
This left no room for confusion. There were floating bottles and shit.
Yes, it was definitely supernatural, which was kind of a bummer because I was very interested in like, seeing this kind of like interpretation of like, oh, if you're just seeing the voices, just hearing the voices, how do you reconcile like this kid's like what is this kid actually hearing, right? Like, is it just him going mad and just remembering like what he's remembered of these kids and kind of like using that as like, his own self motivation to get out, kind of like, in Gerald's Game? Or, is he actually talking to ghosts? But these ghosts act as, like they're losing themselves. So they just kind of like latch on to little moments here and there that they can remember and just repeat them endlessly, which is actually a very common thing in like quote unquote real life hauntings, right? You often get like unintelligent hauntings that are just like repeats of past actions, people, opening cabinets and stuff like that. So
yeah, and
Yeah.
they each give like their method is to try to escape that he tries to do, and
yeah,
and some of them are fairly creative, and
Mhm.
it's neat. And the only thing I don't like is every single time periodically we'll see one of the dead kids is like a ghostly apparition, and it seems like for the most part the kid can't see them, which fine, whatever, I don't care. It's mostly just for the audience's benefit. But like
Yeah.
almost every single time one of these kids shows up, they fucking shove a stupid horror stinger there. But it's like
that's right.
there's no threat from them.
Yeah,
it's
they're
just basically wake up, audience, wake up, and it's
yeah.
I hate it.
It's the screeching parrot in Vertigo, I think, right?
Oh no, God damn it, the Orson Welles movie, the
yeah, the Orson
Citizen
Welles movie.
Kane, Citizen Kane.
Oh yes, thank you. Wake up, audience.
Yeah,
Here's your horror stinger.
It's unfortunate because that was the aspect that I felt like, we were finally heading in a really good direction with it. Because the first 30 minutes, I couldn't get into. And as soon as we get the first call from the dead kid, and it starts to become clear that like, oh, they're trying to update the lead boy Finney on what their attempts to escape looked like, what worked, what didn't, and how he could take what they started and finish it. And I thought that's a really good idea for starting to craft like a puzzle room that you can escape, sort of like a Saw game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was hoping that's the direction that it would stick in. But just like many other pieces of shit that we've reviewed on this here podcast, I don't know why it keeps happening. We've got a B plot with two of the most inept detectives
God, yeah,
that the good world of law has ever seen. They must have watched Morbius because they took notes and followed the useless example of these two.
Listen, clearly their blood was exsanguinated, and that's all we can say about the matter.
Yeah, and the grabber has evolved to the point that he feeds only off of blood. Right.
There you go.
Yeah,
I mean, I think also like we haven't mentioned him yet. Ethan Hawke was good.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was suitably creepy.
Yeah, he was suitably creepy. He was equal parts weird and menacing and kind of haunting in some ways.
Yeah.
It was great. Like he did a great. I actually didn't
had some Gacy vibes. Yeah.
None of the acting in this film like bothered me at all. I liked everybody. I love Jeremy Davies. Shout out to Balder. The kids were both really good. Even though I thought that the sister's plot felt really useless, I thought she was a good actor, and I liked her character. But yeah, it was just ultimately kind of like all added up to meh.
Yeah, I feel like the overall weakness of this movie was they had a very strong concept for an A plot and tacked on unnecessary B, C, and D.
Yep.
We did
short story.
Yeah, we didn't need this whole psychic sister connection. We could have completely done without that. You could have just had the supernatural element be the kids from, making phone calls from beyond the grave collect.
We didn't need a killer's coked out brother.
Oh my god, I almost forgot about him.
Need the killer's coked out brother. So
who has like the weirdest death scene? Anyway, go on. You explain.
These detectives who I mentioned who are really busting the pavement trying to find who's getting all these kids.
Yeah.
We gotta call the elementary school kid, the local psychic.
They investigate one of the houses and meet Max, who is played by James Ransone, who is also in Sinister 1 and 2. He was in It.
Yeah, he's the older version of which one? Eddie?
Eddie Kasparek,
in It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Fantastic character actor. He's very good.
Yeah.
And he is shoehorned into this film as the town's conspiracy theorist who has drawn up a map and he's connecting all the red twine about where the kids were taken and triangulating the areas, and he's snorting line after line of good old-fashioned Colombian. And
the cops see it and are like, have a good day, sir.
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Let's go get some coffee and donuts there, Miller. And I gotta give credit to this scene though, because the second they leave and you're like, wow, where is this going? The camera just pans down through the floor, and sure enough, it's the same house that Finney's been kidnapped and is being held in.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And that's where we reach the greatest unnecessary development, that the child abductor has a brother who does not know that he has a child dungeon. Has just remained blissfully ignorant to it, possibly because he's a crazed theorist and he's high on coke all the time.
He's a rabid conspiracy theorist, but has not made the connection to his own brother yet.
And has never gone down to the basement.
Yeah.
He has,
even though there are like noticeable like people are saying like, oh yeah, the sister was the only one who knew about the balloons, right? And that was why they were like, oh, like, what do you know? But still, there's like enough information out there that you're like, it didn't cross your mind, dude.
Even
your
without
brother is this child abductor dressing up like a magician. Even like, aren't you like, you're taking a break from the coke, you're having a few Camel crushes to, take the edge off, and you're looking at your brother's weird collection of Oni masks that have like interchangeable faces.
Even excluding the outside factors, like all the Oni masks, like you were saying, like the fact that he's never bothered to go to the basement for whatever reason, the fact that his brother keeps a padlock on the front door from the inside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's like, that's not like, sure, I can buy somebody living with somebody and not realizing that they're a serial killer. That happens all the time. Like, fucking Gacy's wife and everything. But like, he didn't have a fucking dungeon.
This guy is this guy is an extra as fuck serial killer. It's not just like, oh, I'm a truck driver and I go out and I, pick up women and murder them in the back of my truck and my wife at home doesn't know because I do it on the road. Like, no, it's in your fucking house.
Yeah, no, I've got the head movie of Max finishes a line and he looks at the web and he's like, okay, the killer has to live in this area, and he needs a van, a way to transport the kids around, something to appeal to children, like an ice cream truck. And then he hears the door, and he looks over, and it's Ethan Hawke, and he's dressed up like the magician, and he's got the handful of balloons, and says, "I'm going out for a minute. Don't ask where I'm going." And out
he's
front
literally
is the
carrying
van.
a child.
He has a big burlap sack.
It's very
sack
silly.
and a Nintendo.
God damn it!
It's very fucking silly, and it just takes you out of it, and then it leads to he determines, oh my god, my brother's the killer. Like, I forgot. He just like notices, oh my god, my house is the center, and he just finally decides to look in the basement, and then he gets Scatman Carruthers in the worst CG axe head that I've seen in a while. Spoilers, but yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, they know we spoil.
I just I didn't even have like high hopes going into this. I don't know what I expected. But I think once I got teased with that little bit of like, oh, we could have this cool supernatural buddy system with the kids from beyond the grave, like, oh, okay, it took us half an hour to get here, but this sounds really legit. Let's go. And then instead we got driveling B, C, and D plots that could have all been cut.
Yeah.
This entire movie, I think, would have been fantastic if you had, let's say, 10 minutes of establishing Finney. You can still have the bad relationship with the alcoholic father. Cut the sister.
Sure, yeah.
Have him get defended by that one kid in school from bullies. Have him get kidnapped.
Yep.
A moment of, oh shit, and then he's the next victim.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wrap it up in 10 minutes and then put us in that creepy, haunted telephone booth for an hour and 10 minutes.
Got the brother.
Oh yeah. Cut the brother, cut the cops, all that. play off of the sense of isolation. Make us feel like Finney
Yes.
sitting in the dark with only dead people to talk to. And then every so often you're about to get something going, fucking Ethan Hawke comes in and starts Ethan Hawking it up.
Yeah, and before...
God, I made you eggs, aren't you gonna eat them?
I'm sure, like, on paper, somebody might say, oh, that sounds boring, only one location. But there's so many one-location movies
there's so
that,
many,
that are super effective.
Again,
Buried,
for
example.
Again, I just mentioned Gerald's Game. And I hate to like, harp on comparing the two because I'm sure Joe Hill gets a lot of comparisons to his dad, but Gerald's Game was a great adaptation in that it took place entirely in that one bedroom with flashbacks to other things, but it was all rooted in this reality of just a single room and a single person trapped there, and you felt that isolation, you felt that horror that she was experiencing because you were right fucking there with her. And that, us continuously getting dragged away to listen to his sister be psychic, which also a big part of why that plot didn't work out super well for me anyway, was that, and I'm sure you guys also felt this because we watch a lot of movies and we are aware of how structure works. And the way that they built up Finney's story, they were not gonna just let somebody else from the outside come rescue him. Yeah, his story was about learning to stand up for himself and learning to,
ultimately, like the entire ultimately the entire psychic thing doesn't mean anything because it doesn't. The cops don't find him until he walks outside after he's already dealt with the situation.
Exactly. But the thing is, I knew that nothing was going to come of her psychic powers because I know how films are structured. I know how stories are structured, and I knew that what they were like, other than them subverting my expectations, which, to be honest, really glad they fucking didn't. But at the same time, I'm like, then you need something else going on with this B plot, or it needs to not be here at all.
I just want to say I'm really proud of Joe Hill for following in his father's footsteps. Being the son of Stephen King is not fucking easy. He's regarded as the modern master of horror. Joe had some big shoes to fill, and he did his job as a king, and he doesn't know how to write an ending.
Well, I mean, I think if...
There you go.
I like,
God bless him.
I like all the reincorporation of all the escape attempts used to get rid of Ethan Hawke. Like, all that shit was cool. That was fine.
Yeah, no, I like that.
And if the film just ended with him going outside and the cops grabbing him, that would have been fine. That would have been perfect.
Yeah,
then we get that stupid epilogue.
Folks, we're gonna cross the spoiler barrier officially.
I already did.
But I'm gonna go for it. Like, skip ahead 5 minutes if you want to like avoid this. His journey was about like doing things himself. Motherfucker takes Ethan Hawke to church. This little boy beats the fuck out of Ethan Hawke.
It's pretty great, actually.
Yeah, genuinely.
It was extra. It was to the point that I'm like, yo, you can pull your blows back a little bit. I know he kidnapped you and all.
Stop, he's already dead.
I made a Rambo hole and broke your fucking leg, and now I'm gonna strangle you with a telephone cord and break your fucking neck.
No, that was the best, is he's got the telephone cord wrapped around his throat, but like over his shoulder and not looking at him like he's Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And just with that one last
yeah, it's pretty great.
And then the slow motion decompression.
Yeah, and if it ended right after he left the house, it would have been great. Instead, we get a stupid fucking scene of him going back to school, and now he's the popular kid because he killed him.
Oh, yep, that's right.
Cut the sister.
And he gets the crush, that the super side girl that he's crushing on, they literally introduce her. Scene. They literally introduce her. I don't know if you guys noticed this. In the baseball scene, she's holding a Crush soda can. She's holding a Crush glass bottle. Yeah, that's how his crush is introduced. I was like, I saw that and I thought about making a note, and I was just like, I'm tired.
I didn't even notice her in the baseball scene. I just noticed her in the fucking classroom scene, and then she was only in the other classroom scene. She has no development. She shows up, has 2 lines of dialogue, and then disappears.
Yeah, she's just like she's a cute girl who, isn't a jerk to him. She's like the only person who's not a jerk to him.
Yeah.
And then he comes back famous because he survived his encounter with the grabber, and he sits
killed a
down,
man.
and she's like, "Oh, you killed a clown."
It's pretty great.
Yeah, so that was the black phone.
Yeah, it's fine.
It is
It's
not
fine.
the worst thing.
No, it's like a fine 2 hours if you can get it for like. I would wait till it's free on streaming and watch it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's still high quality. Like, you know, the cinematography was great. The
Performances are strong.
the acting performances are good. It's really just it should have been like 30 minutes shorter.
Yeah, 30 minutes shorter, or like a fucking an episode of television that's in an anthology series.
Yeah, like a True Detective or something.
Yeah, just like, you know, like, or like a Twilight Zone episode, or Tales from the Dark Side, or any of that shit.
Yeah,
you know?
Sure.
Would have been fine, but it just is too long and too slow. I mean, I'm fine with slow shit if there's menace and build and whatever. Like, you know, I fucking love The Clove Hitch Killer, and that movie's pretty fucking slow, but it's a slow burn of just dread and mystery and
there's not fat in the movie, right? This movie felt like it had a really strong, like Lee said, it had a really strong backbone and then just a lot of fat around it.
Yeah,
could just get rid of.
I'm gonna say some really controversial shit right here.
That we shouldn't fat shame movies.
I feel like there's a movie in the past that I said this exact thing about, and I don't remember for the life of me which one.
Maybe I'll remember.
I would have liked this movie a lot better if it was just all contained in that one room, and it was a black box theater production.
Ooh.
I would rather just have
I don't think you've ever said that.
Yeah.
I would rather just have a fucking actor on stage with like off stage vocal additions from the people on the phone.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
and Ethan Hawke coming in every so often and fucking with it. Well, this would be a brilliant 30-minute one-act stage production.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I mentioned Buried. Is that whole movie is like 90 minutes, and it's just Ryan Reynolds in a coffin, and it never fucking leaves the goddamn coffin. And every other character,
the last minute, I think.
Well, the last minute when he thinks
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert for Buried. The last minute when he thinks he gets freed, and then it's like, oh no, he's actually dying. But like every other character in that movie is just a voice on a telephone.
Yeah.
And it's gripping, it's engaging. If you can do shit with like a really small location, or like
you absolutely can.
It's not quite one location, but it is limited locations. But like Phone Booth is another good example, I think, where it never really leaves that area. And
no, I mean, you for the majority of that movie, you are stuck with in Colin Farrell's perspective, and you are chained to that phone booth with him. You know, so. And
there's another one which I've mentioned before, and I can't remember if either of you two have seen it. Locke with Tom Hardy, and the entire, it's just a drama, and the entire movie is just Tom Hardy driving a car on the freeway, trying to get to a hospital where a lady he had a one-night stand with is giving birth to his kid. And every other character is somebody who he's calling on the phone, like his boss explaining why he can't come into work the next day. His wife explaining, hey, I had a fucking extramarital affair because I'm a piece of shit. His second in command on the construction site, telling him how to do the job. The lady he had the affair with, ensuring her, I'm going to be there for the kid to be born because I don't want the kid to like be born without a father. I'm going to take fucking responsibility. And it's an hour and a half of Tom Hardy driving this fucking car, and it's gripping. It's so goddamn good. It's this effective one-man show, and just, you need a good director and a good story and a great fucking actor, and it could work. And
I mean, I'd watch an hour and a half of Tom Hardy playing checkers against himself.
I was gonna say, I feel like both of you would just watch Tom Hardy do anything for 90 minutes. So
flex.
I mean, just bear that in mind when you're taking this recommendation that it's coming from these two.
Hey, it's a great fucking movie. God damn it.
Other people agree, so I'm not gonna disparage it. I actually haven't seen Locke yet, but it's been on my list. So.
James, take Locke and just replace Tom Hardy with David Spade.
No.
Is it as strong a picture?
No.
It's because it's David Spade. No. I can't even think of a movie that I like David Spade in.
Joking
Emperor's New
aside,
Groove.
I believe he's my least favorite actor.
Emperor's New Groove.
I haven't seen it. I've seen bits of
What?
it, and I'm just like, but I haven't seen the full thing. So I don't know.
I mean, I guess he's just doing the
Well, I mean, that's
celebrity
better
voice
because
stuff.
we don't have to look at his face. So
Yeah, exactly.
That helps.
He's not,
that helps a lot.
Yeah, he's literally playing a smarmy asshole with a different face. And it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the Black Phone.
Yeah. It feels like Stephen King's son wrote it.
Boing. All
Written
right,
by
on.
Stephen King Jr.
Oh God.
Moving on to art.
Yes. So the next movie we're going to talk about is one that I suggested that people watch because I was super hyped for this movie. So a tiny bit of backstory for myself, and we're going to keep this one short because I think we have mostly good things to say. I think maybe a couple of negatives here and there, but it's mostly fantastic. So
it's a rough one because people just need to see it.
Yeah, exactly. It's really more of an experience, which sounds very that's how art is supposed to be, but so
throw another orphan onto the fire.
So when I was in high school, I was kind of gearing up to go into art full time, and my parents were fucking terrified. And so as part of my education, they were like, hey, my junior year, I think, they sat me down and they were like, hey, we want you to take a summer college course so you actually can decide if this is what you really want to do. And I was like, cool, all right. So I picked the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and I decided to pick animation as my my summer class because it was one of the only art classes that they were offering that I did not already have access to at my high school, right? Nobody was teaching animation. So I was like, hey, this is a brand new fucking thing that I can do. And I went in and my animation class was fucking phenomenal. I met some fantastic artists there. And my teacher is just like, she was absolutely wonderful. And she introduced me to a pair of filmmakers called the Brothers Quay. They are stop motion animators who make very weird, very like industrial kind of films. And she specifically introduced us to this with Street of Crocodiles, which if anyone has seen, they will already know where this is going. But if anybody has not seen, it's really a masterpiece. It's really something that just like you have to kind of watch and experience, and it's weird and bizarre. And as a 16-year-old kid, I was like, holy fucking shit. I want to do nothing but this for the rest of my life. So that was my introduction to stop motion animation, and that's probably why I am the way I am. And last year, this year, Shudder acquired the rights to Phil Tippett's latest film, Mad God, which is a stop motion film very much in line with the Brothers Quay and Jan Svankmajer, and kind of like all of the old, weird, very artsy stop motion animators of old. And yeah, it absolutely did not disappoint. I went in basically blind, except for the fact that I saw a review literally comparing him to Svankmajer and the Brothers Quay, and I was just like, dope, this is what I want, like 100%. And yeah, I want to give you guys some room to say some things, because I could just gush about this forever, but that is like the reason I even brought this to our attention as a potential. I don't even think it was, I was like, we got a podcast about this. I was just like, hey, I want to watch this movie, and I like watching movies with you guys, and you guys like weird stuff, like, the black and white Twin Peaks episode.
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably love this. So, what'd you guys think of Mad God?
There is the often memed circumstance of two snobby people standing in front of a painting going, what do you see? Oh, interesting. What do you see? Mad God is one of those movies where everyone who watches it is, I think, going to have their own insight as to what it actually is. It leaves a lot of room open for interpretation.
Yes.
I'd say the first half of the film has a plot you can follow, and then there's an event halfway through that from that point on, the rails are gone. There is just weird shit happening, and you read into it whatever you want to get from it.
Yeah, like whether or not you think that the narrative plays with time, whether like at that halfway point there's no narrative, whether it just like, you know, expands to this like complete cosmic story that just like engulfs everything. It's all you can decide for yourself, because, and this is very much a film that I feel like it's okay not to get.
Yes.
I feel like we watched it also with my good friend Hecate, and like all of us were kind of just like, what the fuck just happened at the end there?
And it doesn't
like,
make you feel bad.
Exactly.
There's some movies that when they end and you don't get it, they kind of leave you with that stinger in the credits of like, you got it, right, you fucking moron?
Yeah.
Like, this didn't make me feel that way. This left you with that impression of, okay, you walk away from that with whatever you want to.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I kind of lean towards saying it is an experience, because you just have to kind of like exist and absorb all this stuff. It's not really like I still haven't gotten a chance to rewatch it yet. I've been meaning to. I just haven't been quite in the right headspace to like reabsorb all that. But like, yeah, it's just kind of like there to be observed and, you know, interpreted as you like, but like it doesn't have to be right away. I sat with the film for like a couple hours afterwards, just kind of like going over the visuals in my head. Oh, yeah. We got to talk very briefly about the visuals. Absolutely fucking gorgeous.
Before we get into that,
yeah.
Just my general thing is it's a movie I really respect, especially on like a technical level, and you'll go in more depth with the visuals, and you know, it's a gorgeous movie. I'm in the camp, I didn't like it because of the whole, it lost me at the halfway point, and I've been sitting on it and thinking about it. I still don't know why. It's not a movie that I can say that like I hate or anything like that, because there's so much technical shit in it that's like really impressive. I just don't know why I don't like it. But I can also understand why everybody does like it, who do like it. It's one of those, it's a weird not like situation where I still recommend anybody fucking see it, especially if you're into stop motion animation, because it's a gorgeous goddamn movie.
Yeah,
well, at least for me, it's just I don't know why I don't like it.
No, I totally get your impressions. It's the third movie in my life to be grouped into this certain little box of movies that I think are very, very good that I will never ever watch again. Mad God, Requiem for a Dream, and Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh,
I still haven't seen Grave of the Fireflies either.
Well, you ain't gonna watch it with me.
Yeah, I know.
I ain't watching it again.
I don't think I can. That's a very interesting grouping, because I actually think I want to watch Mad God again. I've already mentioned I really just want to like sit in that world and like reinterpret things and just kind of be like, oh, like, you know, see sort of like where the through lines are. There's a lot of you know, very cute like Harryhausen kind of references. There's, you know, like, yeah, there's a couple of little Easter eggs here and there. Visually, it's absolutely wild. It's kind of a, you know, there is a lot of stop motion, just like, you know, straight up like maquettes, like puppeteering, that sort of thing. But there's also a lot of recording people, like in stop motion style. So whether that's they kind of like reduce the frame rate of the camera that they're recording to, you know, down to exactly the frame rate of how they're capturing the stills, and or how they're capturing and replaying back the stop motion animation rather. Whether it's that way or not, there's also, you know, there were a couple of times where, you know, I noticed that it was more of a something was physically moving in a space and they were recording it on camera. And, like sometimes when the guy brought out his map, that was very clearly like a physical map, not a, not stop motion animated map.
Mm-hmm.
I think on top of that, the it's all very, very visceral. There's a couple of moments of, kind of like weird nudity. But, other than that, it's mostly just very violent.
Very violent.
It's
very
very
primal.
like yes. There's and I haven't even gotten into the sound design yet, which I will. But yeah, there's like a lot of the designs are very, they're very monstrous. Obviously Phil Tippett. For people who don't know, he kind of made his mark on the world doing, like movie, like live action movie visual effects. So he's probably
RoboCop.
he's probably most well known for there was a meme going around where he's credited as the dinosaur supervisor on Jurassic Park.
Yep.
And they were like, Phil, you had one job. Yeah, so I didn't even know he was, such a big fan of stop motion animation. Also, James, I think you had mentioned that he had kind of I mean, do you want to tell this? Kind of like history.
I don't know too much about like his career. Like I know he worked on like RoboCop 2 and whatnot, but like he was actually hired to do the special effects for Jurassic Park, and he was at the time they were originally going to do stop motion dinosaurs. And then they somebody convinced Steven Spielberg, or maybe he discovered it on his own, to do CG instead, and like animatronics and stuff like that. And Phil Tippett was like, well, fuck, I'm kind of out of a job and whatnot. But they still kept him on, and they basically used like this combination of like Phil Tippett's knowledge of stop motion to like make the dinosaur movement and whatnot. Like I'm explaining it really badly and paraphrasing it pretty badly. I've seen a few YouTube videos on it. I'll see if I can like link you guys if I can find it. But like, it's like he's still basically like all the effects, even though they weren't stop motion in Jurassic Park, are still partially his doing of just like figuring all this crazy shit out. And then from what I additionally read is like this movie started production in like the late 1980s, and basically like when that whole CG thing happened, he kind of got like dissuaded a little bit, or like budget got pulled out from under him because nobody wants fucking stop motion anymore. And he sat on it shelved for years and years and years until I guess in the early 2010s he launched a Kickstarter and decided to finally finish it off. And that's how we got the remainder of Mad God, but like it was like slowly pieced together over the span of like
30 years.
And I kept making,
which is absolutely wild. Which I do know that actually does it tends to happen in animation a lot. Thief and the Cobbler is one of the most famous examples of like that film was still being made for 30, 40 something years, like before it was kind of released. I don't ever think it was actually officially finished. But yeah, it's unfortunately a reality of that industry that sometimes people's passion projects just kind of ends up being, it does take that long just because it has to be, recorded or made in tiny little chunks over 30 years.
Yeah.
Because animation is very time consuming, especially if it's one guy.
Yeah, so I'm also looking at his Wikipedia page, and like actually because like when he was told that he was actually going to be like they were going to do CGI in Jurassic Park, he exclaimed, "I've just become extinct." And Spielberg actually took that and used it in the movie, but they still kept him on. And it's like Tippett evolved as a stop motion animation gave way to computer generated imagery. Because of Tippett's background and understanding of animal movement and behavior, Spielberg kept Tippett on to supervise the animation on 50 dinosaur shots for Jurassic Park. Tippett supervised both the Tippett Studio and ILM animators, resulting in realistic digital dinosaurs that breathe, flex, and twitch and react. And that got him his second Oscar nomination. But
and yeah, like that that breathing, twitching, reacting, that is full force here. So
Yeah.
like, you know, I mean, I think this movie is also definitely not for everybody because yeah, it's very graphic and visceral and you know, just kind of well,
It's dirty.
it's dirty. I want Lee, I want you to go into a little bit of your theory with like
Yeah,
what the movie is
absolutely.
about because I really dug hearing.
I do
that
just
from
want to
you.
mention one thing though, and that's
Mhm.
the point, and it cycles back to like how long this movie took to make.
Mhm.
Because the fact that it took 30 years to make, that means it's 100% better than Boyhood, which only took 12 years to make.
Yes, correct. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Longer time to make equals better.
Yes.
That's why whenever you burn food, it's way better because it took longer to make.
Yeah, that's why Duke Nukem Forever is the best video game ever made, because it took 15 years to make.
Yep. Oh, and real quick before we get into kind of like the plot question mark, I do want to briefly say the sound design is fucking impeccable. And
Yes,
animation kind of lives and dies on its audio. And this one, you know, like absolutely above and beyond. There are moments I think they use a lot of animal noises with the especially with some of the like more like
beasts.
Yeah, like more monstrous kind of folks that are walking around this hellscape. But the stuff that really got to me was all of the mechanical sounds. There were so many moments of like little like a boot scrape or like a you know like a metal thing rotating, and it was just like it sounded so good.
Absolutely.
It really just put you right into everything that was going on. It felt so much more visceral.
Well, to get into the meat and potatoes of the quote plot, I can keep it very broad until discussing the halfway point, at which I just need to talk about the movie. So if you're on the fence about watching Mad God and want the full experience, this is where I would just put a pin in it and go check it out.
Yeah. Or skip ahead 20 minutes or something.
I'm not going to be terribly long-winded on this, but
skip ahead 5 minutes then.
The rough plot surrounds a character called the Assassin, who is a gas-masked, trench-coated, very World War sort of feeling character who is on a mission to follow a map and deliver a package. That's all we know. And as he's going on this journey, hellscape is the only way to put it. He is descending level by level through this monstrous hellscape that goes through different phases. One is a cityscape, one is very industrial, one is very fleshy and filthy. And my initial thoughts watching this was, we're doing a new take on Dante's Inferno. Because some of the layers he was going through were giving some little hints about like, I could see how this level's lust. I could see how this one's gluttony. I could see how this one's greed. And we start to spend a lot of time looking at images of industrialism is a huge one. Conformity.
Yes.
A lot of living beings being pressed out of a machine. They're faceless. They have no identities. They're corporate drones.
They're literally like made of the sludge that comes out of the like the refuse from the factory.
Yeah, they're made of filth. And they live horrible, pitiful lives of they work and toil, and that work and toil literally kills them.
Yeah.
It's almost presented in a darkly comedic way, the way some of these poor things get murdered. But the overall tone is just so nasty you can't really laugh at it. And so it was through this that I'm starting to think, okay, maybe there's something deeper going on here. And we find out the assassin's mission is to plant a bomb in a level of this hellscape that is purely briefcases. And so after getting through this industrialism and corporate sort of thing, to then try to plant a bomb in like, this room that is just kind of like a symbol of the 9 to 5, I was like, okay, we're making a statement here about, the corporate lifestyle. There's something he's trying to say here. And then I figured out what I think is what I want to go with as far as the overall tone of this movie. Again, only in the first half, and I'll get there. It's a journey through life and the trials and tribulations of life. His descent to the surface world is braving all these ballistics and gunfire. He has to creep his way around all these strange monsters and horrifying things and navigate this concrete jungle of human conformity. Every image sort of presented itself to me as this is just the shit that we in a day-to-day of being a human being have to deal with. And I thought I was going to ride that idea all the way to the end. And then halfway through the movie, our poor boy, the assassin just gets a big solid fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
And we are treated to a horribly uncomfortable 5 or 6 minute vivisection scene.
Mm-hmm.
In which our boy is strapped down, has all of his innards removed, has his brain plunged and shit. He's got all kinds of electrical currents blasting through him. Our boy gets fucked up for a solid, uncomfortable 5 or 6 minutes. At which point a part of him is harvested and given to a giant ethereal plague doctor, which is the sickest looking thing in this movie. Oh my God. And then at that point, I wrote here, my note is verbatim. From this point on, I have no clue what the fuck is happening. Because it then just devolves into, I shouldn't say devolves, but it loses its structure. It becomes just images. Thought-provoking images. Very moving images.
Yes.
Strange scenarios and wonderful beasts and grotesque abominations. It's a circus of flesh, and I couldn't understand what the fuck was going on at this point.
I forget, did I mention Koinoskatsu after we wrapped
I don't
watching
believe
the movie?
so.
Because that was kind of the vibe I got by the end. Was it started to be so Koinoskatsu is this it's a film that's unique in that it specifically set out to be a film without a narrative.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it failed because I think any juxtaposition of images automatically kind of creates a narrative for the viewer. But that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, it's basically just putting up images of, either still images or brief little like vignettes of like filmed sky or, ants moving on an anthill or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the vibe I was getting at the end here.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, like there was meaning making happening, but perhaps it was beyond what we were meant to understand, kind of thing. And that's to me, I was like, that's fine. I'm just digging this.
The comparison, I just realized, I didn't think of this beforehand. It just kind of came to me now. This is to stop motion as Pink Floyd's The Wall was to animation.
Yeah.
A lot of that weird, bizarre, ever-evolving landscape, especially in the first half when it had kind of a through line like The Wall does. The Wall has a strong concept line the whole way through.
For sure.
That's what this struck me as. This strikes me as a very well-driven, creative, hellish first half, and then at that point, it just becomes experimental art.
Yeah.
Overall, I liked it. I don't ever want to see it again. And to be perfectly honest, I can't pin down exactly why. The movie kind of did for me what House of Leaves did as a book, where when you're reading that book, you feel this general sense of anxiety and unease.
Yes.
And the images in Mad God, when I look at them, they didn't disturb me. They didn't make me anxious. Mm-hmm. But the idea of going back and rewatching them makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of in the same boat in that, because I'm like, I'm very much, I want to watch it again, but now that I know what I'm getting myself into, I'm like, okay, I gotta be in the right headspace here, right?
Yeah, you gotta prepare yourself.
Yeah. So yeah. But I absolutely loved your interpretation of like it being hell from the beginning, because I was like, oh yeah, that is kind of the vibe I was getting. But yeah, it absolutely goes somewhere completely different and unexpected, but in really cool ways. It doesn't feel like it's like intentionally pulling the rug out from under you. It just feels like this is the experience you're having right now.
Yeah, buckle up.
Yep. So yeah, I highly recommend Mad God. I don't know about my two fine co-hosts, but I feel like Lee, yes, and maybe James.
If you got a tab,
no.
if you got a tab of Orange Sunshine, drop a little acid and then watch it.
I don't like
Yeah.
it, but I recommend it because it's like
Wow.
it's a very technically impressive film, and at the very least, like you'll get some really, really, really good stop motion animation out of it, and some great audio design and great visuals. Hopefully you like it more than me. Like I said, I don't like it, and I don't know why. It's nothing. It's not a movie that I could say like I hate. I like would never even consider putting it on my like list of least favorites or hates from the year.
It's not your bottom 10. It's not your like most disappointing. It's just kind of like it's a thing I saw.
It's a movie that I saw, and I don't know why I don't like it, especially since I fucking like David Lynch. I don't know why.
Actually, yeah, that was my big thing was when I heard what this was, when I heard the reviews and stuff, I was like, I think Lee and James are going to like this specifically because of the Lynch connection. But, I mean, we like what we like, right?
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know why I don't like it.
I mean, when they opened up the assassin in the vivisection, they should have just pulled out handfuls of cream corn.
Yes.
You're right.
We did agree with that. Yeah.
What were they thinking?
Yes.
Well, the appetizers are out of the way.
Oh, God.
Who's hungry for the main course?
Fucking boy, chat. Did you know that fucking reviewers are calling this the best fucking video game adaptation of all fucking time? That it's the best fucking Resident Evil adaptation of all fucking time? And I think these people are fucking idiots?
Good. He's good and triggered. James, introduce us to our next piece.
Yeah, we watched the entirety of Resident Evil Netflix, and I went into this piece of fucking shit with no fucking expectations. None. Not a single fucking goddamn expectation. I was expecting this to probably be shit. Probably be about as bad as the Anderson film. Probably just to be terrible, right? This is fucking worse than that. This is a fucking dumpster fire. This is fucking garbage.
Yeah,
Holy fucking shit.
My favorite so far has been it was a picture of all of the Anderson films next to each other, and then Thanos going, "Perhaps I was too harsh on you."
Yeah. Like, good fucking... At least stuff happens in the Anderson movies. Like, the Anderson movies are a shitty fucking adaptation, sure, and they're
fan fiction.
Dumb, and it's just waifu fan fiction. But stuff happens. Dumb action happens. Stupid shit happens. Stuff that you can kind of be engaged with. Not fucking stupid high school CW fucking drama in a lame fucking post-apocalyptic fucking goddamn setting.
Hold on. You say CW drama? CW is entertaining, all right?
It can be. Riverdale is entertaining because it's batshit insane.
But the thing is, CW is not boring as shit, which was my main problem with this whole thing.
That's the main thing. Is like it's also fucking boring as shit.
Yeah.
It's so fucking boring. Nothing fucking happens. Fucking spoilers. They don't even fucking tell you how the goddamn zombie apocalypse fucking starts because fuck you. They want a season 2. They're fucking smug assholes about it. Fuck you. Nothing happens. This whole show is a waste of time.
I'm gonna torture James for the benefit of our viewers. James, can you please explain the plot of Resident Evil to us?
The show takes place in 2022 and 2036. It uses this two storyline setup where the main plot is in 2036, which is 14 years after the zombie outbreak that ended the world. And then the rest of the other half of the show is in 2022, showing how the zombie outbreak started. Except for, as I just said, it doesn't show how the fucking zombie outbreak fucking starts. because the show is a fucking waste of fucking time. And in the 2036 sections, you have Jade Wesker, and she's the daughter of Albert Wesker. And again, this show takes place in the universe of the games, right? So I know what you're thinking if you played the games. Okay, so so he had a daughter on top of having Jake Wesker, the son, and it's like, okay, that kind of, except for, in 2022, Albert Wesker's alive and kicking. So your first thought, if you played the games, is, what the fuck? What the fuck? How is Wesker alive? And before I continue my shitting on this thing, Lance Reddick is a gem, and he's so fucking underutilized in the show.
Lance Reddick is amazing.
He's the best part about the show.
There are 3 scenes that he absolutely fucking kills, and every other time he's on screen, it's like, Lance, you're better than this.
Please, Lance, please do something.
Why are you here wearing khakis and reciting terrible dialogue and doing nothing?
I'm
going to say this without context so that it sounds really out of place until we explain it later. But all 3 of the best characters in this show are played by Lance Reddick.
Yes.
Albert Wesker, Big Al Wesker, and Uncle Bert Wesker.
Yep.
Yes.
Goddamn right.
So the zombie apocalypse storyline is basically Jade encounters spooky monsters and then encounters a group of survivors, and then they encounter spooky monsters and said survivors are killed.
Yep.
And then she encounters another group of survivors, and then
rinse and repeat.
It's just repeat
and
that.
Then Umbrella kills them.
Repeat that. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Umbrella is around again. I'll get into that.
James?
Fuck you. That's how. So to go back to the 2022 shit. So not only is a Wesker fucking alive and kicking, right? Even though he died in a fucking volcano. And yes, this allegedly takes place in the game universe. And they even distinctly mention that Wesker died in a volcano. Right? Not only is this taking place in the game universe, but Umbrella is back, and somehow in this show's universe, Raccoon City's destruction is credited towards a gas leak, and nobody knows that there are zombies and bioweapons, and that Umbrella was responsible. Even though, if this was set in the game universe, everyone would know that the US government blew up Raccoon City. Everyone would know that there's bioweapons and zombies, because fucking biohazard outbreaks happen on a fucking yearly basis in this fucking universe. Fucking Resident Evil 6, for fuck's sake, there's an entire goddamn Eastern European civil fucking war, and fucking Raccoon City 2.0, and fucking China, and in Resident Evil Revelations, an entire fucking floating city was demolished because of fucking bioweapons, and Umbrella went out of business because the US basically, removed them from the stock market and fucking sanctioned their ass like crazy in, 2002, 2003 or whatever. They're completely fucking shut down and gone by the time fucking this show was supposed to happen. There's, granted, in the show, the game's fucking universe is fucking Blue Umbrella, and who the fuck knows what the fuck is happening with that fucking shit, because Capcom's pulling shit out of their fucking ass, and whatever, who cares? Because it's not fucking Blue Umbrella. It's not Blue Umbrella. And Umbrella, which nobody knows is evil, made New Raccoon City in South Africa, and there's no point to calling it New Raccoon City, because we barely fucking even see New Raccoon City. We only see, a school, and then, this shitty, construction yard where kids skateboard, and a lab. That's basically it. And New Umbrella is run by Evelyn Marcus, who's the daughter of Dr. James Marcus, the antagonist of Resident Evil 0, who's been dead for fucking years and is a leech monster. And, that means that fucking if you do the fucking math, that means he had Evelyn when he was 70.
Just like Palpatine, he had sex with a lady.
Yeah, he had
with his fucked up leech body.
Yeah, with his fucked up leech body, and she's all butthurt that I'm
kink shame here.
She's all pissed off about how Umbrella was stolen from my father, the true founder of Umbrella. Even though her father isn't the fucking founder of Umbrella, it's fucking Oswald Spencer. He was there. Marcus is the creator of the T-Virus, the founder, the guy who found the T-Virus and everything like that, and he was there on the ground level the day Umbrella was fucking founded, but he's not the fucking founder. This show basically picks and chooses game lore Even though the writers are insistent this takes place in the video game universe. No, it fucking doesn't. No, it fucking doesn't. I'd have a lot more respect if they didn't fucking say that shit.
Well, there's even some choices that could have been made to keep it within the game lore and still get across what they wanted. Instead of having it be Umbrella in this scenario, it could be Tricell.
Yeah, could have been Tricell, could have been fucking anybody.
Well, but that's the thing is that casual Resident Evil fans won't recognize it.
Exactly. They need the Umbrella logo.
Yeah, and it's
they don't need the company. They need the logo.
No,
they need the logo. It's the exact same reason why fucking John Blake's name was Robin in Dark Knight Rises, because you don't trust the audience to actually give a shit about your property.
Yeah. So anyways, fucking New Umbrella is making actual pharmaceutical stuff, and they're making it with the T virus because why not? Like they're not making bioweapons anymore. But they have bioweapons, but they're making actual pharmaceutical products with the T virus, and like, oh, well, people don't overdose, they'll be fine. It's like, fucking Christ, no. And the show is about Albert Wesker's Scooby-Doo daughters, Billy Wesker and Jade Wesker, as they're like 14 years old, and the trials and tribulations of high school. And then Billy Wesker's a vegan, and she's like, oh my god, Umbrella's doing animal testing. We gotta break into Dad's lab and set the animals free. And Jade Wesker's like, wow, okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
That reminds me of another great apocalypse undead story where the outbreak happens because you're trying to stop animal testing. All right, 28 days later.
Yeah.
A far superior.
And then they accidentally
this show clearly cribbed on from like so many things, from like cinematography to
then fucking they accidentally let loose a fucking zombie dog, and Billy Wesker's bitten by the zombie dog. But she's like kind of turning into something, but not really. It's weird. It's stupid. Mostly nothing fucking of value continues to happen at all across both fucking plot lines until in the future plot line, fucking Jade Wesker, adult Jade Wesker, gets back to the home base, which is some fucking ship in the middle of the fucking ocean where they fucking have talent shows for their stupid fucking kids. Yeah, that's real important, having fucking talent shows for your stupid fucking kids in a fucking zombie apocalypse. Yeah, alright. And she's like working on sciencey shit, and the show borrows from Dead Rising, where there's like a queen zombie that releases like a pheromone, and then she's like, oh, if we can recreate this pheromone, we can maybe make it so zombies don't attack us. And then she after trying to artificially create spit to mix with the pheromone to make the perfume, it finally dawns on her after 50 attempts. What if I just spit in it? And then that works. And then they have the pheromone. And then she decides to test it for realsies by bringing a zombie on the boat without telling anybody at all, because she's too impatient. And then her daughter shows up and is like, hey, Mom, can I watch? And Mom's like, yeah, sure. And then the pheromone works.
Yeah, sure, kid, pull up a chair.
And then the zombie sees the daughter, and the zombie goes, hey, oh, wait, no, they're called zeros in this show because fuck you. Because they were like, oh my god, Walking Dead, they call them walkers. We need to have a cute fucking name. And then the zombie goes haywire, and it gets loose, and it kills this lady who we found out 10 minutes ago was pregnant. Because yeah, why not? And then like Jade Wesker's like, oh, it's all my fault. And it's like, yeah, no, it was your fault, you stupid fucking asshole. You fucking brought a goddamn zombie on board. Oh, and Umbrella, for some reason, is like a private military company in the post-apocalypse, and they're still doing evil shit. And it's basically like the Paul Anderson shit, because let's just copy the Paul Anderson movies where Umbrella's this super evil company still around in the post-apocalypse trying to kill off survivors and shit, because why not? Oh, and also, Dr. Salvador from Resident Evil 4 shows up as part of a French cult, because reference, I saw it and I clapped. I clapped so hard, I clapped my head against my desk multiple fucking times, hoping I could just pass out.
Yeah, folks, I want to be very clear here. This checked James out so badly, he stopped watching it and laid on the floor comatose, staring at the ceiling, because he would rather do that than watch this show.
Every so often, I'd get up to go to my computer and just make a shitty meme in Photoshop, which you'll see on screen, because that's the image of this fucking. That's the image of this fucking thing. If you're watching the YouTube version, proudly.
Yeah. As a quick aside, the main thing that got like all three of us through this fucking series was James and Lee's continuing Photoshop war.
Yeah, it's
a war. We were an allied front.
That's you know what? That's it was your.
We were brothers in arms.
It was your war against this series.
There you go.
Yeah, and also in the future, Billy Wesker, the one who was bitten by the dog, she's still around, and now she's evil for some reason, and she's now the head of Umbrella, and is trying to track down Jade Wesker for reasons. Why not? Anyways, then Jade Wesker is like to her daughter, I need you to get off the ship because Umbrella's coming. Don't tell your dad. Just get off the ship and go to the mainland. Because why not? Why not? And then Jade Wesker goes to the mainland and to meet with Billy Wesker, and she meets Evelyn Marcus, who is under some sort of stupid mind control and does a fucking song and dance number. And I know that sounds like a fucking joke. I know it sounds like a joke. I know it sounds like this is bullshit. But no. This is fucking 100% fucking real. Hold on. Did a full 180 song. Don't Start Now, or Did a Full 180 by Dua Lipa. That's the fucking song that she fucking sings and does a dance number to. I kid you not. If you don't fucking believe me, just type in fucking Did a Full 180 Resident Evil.
Song?
Probably. It probably is. Because the showrunners are fucking stupid.
We had a dance number. We had Zootopia porn. We had it all.
Yeah. There's Zootopia porn reference.
And okay, here's the big thing. A lot of people. We're gonna get into all of our complaints about this show. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, but the original Resident Evil had cheesy dialogue too. Like this is just more." No, guys, it's
100% completely different thing.
That's not the fucking point. There is a big difference between dialogue that is meant to imitate, 80s and 90s action movies or, action horror movies, but is filtered through the lens of people who don't speak English as their first language.
Yeah.
And Zootopia porn.
Yeah. And
there is a big fucking difference, and if you can't see that, you might be an asshole.
Yeah, it's there is a difference between fucking Resident Evil 1's dialogue
in tone.
Yeah, Resident Evil 1's dialogue is they wrote a script in Japanese and it was poorly translated into English because localization wasn't that big of a deal back in the fucking 90s. And they literally cast actors based on their physical appearance to the concept art and in-game models, not based off of talent. Mm-hmm. And then they tried to direct them through a translator and everything like that. There's no Japanese audio for OG Resident Evil 1. It's all English.
Yes.
Yes, it is cheesy and it is dumb, but it is not cringe.
Exactly. It is done with the intention of not being cheesy and silly.
Yeah. There's sincerity to it.
No, but yeah, exactly. There's sincerity. It's not this cynical, we're making a joke, we're making cheesy dialogue as a joke.
Yes.
it's literally like Jill Sandwich was not supposed to be, it wasn't supposed to be a joke, right?
It wasn't it wasn't intentionally supposed to be a fucking meme.
Yeah,
even though it has become
it was
a
not
fucking
written
meme.
that way. It became that way
Yes.
because
Or the master of unlocking.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So anyways, fucking Billy and Jade Wesker have their stupid confrontation in the fucking post-apocalypse. And then back in 2022, we find out that Albert Wesker, their father, isn't Albert Wesker. He is Al Wesker. Because at some point after the events of Resident Evil 1 or maybe Code Veronica, he cloned himself, and he had 3 clones.
It was at whatever time he got cloned and like Alex Wesker got created.
No, Alex Wesker was
Alex has been around forever.
Alex Wesker. If you go by the Resident Evil lore, there was like 18 or something.
There were 13 Wesker kids.
Yeah, and they all
only two of them survived.
Yes.
It's supposed to be implied in this shitty plot that Al and Bert are 2 of them, aren't they?
No. These are direct clones created by Albert Wesker himself.
I'm
help
sorry,
with his
I was
research.
trying to give it credit.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that I said would have made sense. I was like, why did they not just make them make the other 2 Alberts just other Weskers?
And you forget there were 3 of them.
Yes.
And then one of them is killed by Wesker. And God, like, again, we say, like, there's 3 scenes that Lance Reddick is great in. And this is one of them. Because it's literally Lance Reddick acting across himself. Yeah. And we see actual Albert Wesker. And
be menacing.
I know they tried, but he just looks like Blade. But I don't care. Because it's still Wesker. It's like the black trench coat and the sunglasses and
a bunch of people menacing. Were like, a bunch of people on Reddit were like, I think that just makes Wesker White Blade.
Yeah,
which is true. Since Blade came first.
Well, he evolved into White Blade. He didn't start. He didn't start as White Blade.
As White Blade. True.
He became White Blade by the time Resident Evil 5
in RE5, yeah.
But like, and then Umbrella invades his lab, and one of the clones dies, and then they capture Al and Bert, and Bert remains locked up while Al now works at New Umbrella. Never mind. Keep in mind again, Umbrella raided his facility, even though they've been dead for fucking years at this point. But sure, why not? And that his 2 daughters are clones of him that didn't go through artificial aging, so he can cure his own like blood disease thing and not die or whatever.
Well, I think they're combinations of him and another donor,
something like so that. I don't know.
They're diluted, but
they're pulling some fucking They're pulling some fucking Metal Gear Solid shit in this fucking thing.
And either way, it doesn't matter.
Either way, it's fucking.
It's basically just they're essentially, and Evelyn refers to them as like his blood packs because he just needs their blood to keep his clone body from deteriorating.
Yeah, and then we meet Bert, and he's still alive and well, and he escapes and he picks up the daughters, and he goes to the Olive Garden and complains about the fact that unlimited breadsticks aren't really unlimited because. I mean, it's fucking terrible, but it's charming in a way because it's Bert. Because it's Bert.
It is the only scene I loved, like, genuinely. I was just like, as we were watching that, I think you 2 were both still kind of like, this is fucking weird and dumb, and I was just like, I'm in love already.
and then they like, we go back to the lab, because everybody goes back to the lab, and we get cock teased with a tyrant, like, oh my god, we're gonna actually get like a tyrant or something like that? No, fuck you. I'm spoiling that before I even get to that part of the fucking synopsis. Fuck you, no tyrant, eat shit. And anyways,
you get some PTSD flashbacks.
Yeah, Billy bites the guy who I guess likes Jade. He's this other fucking stupid tween who also happens to be like
Simon. Thank you.
I'm not acknowledging his name.
I'm trying to at least approach this as a show.
No,
You
no.
just have vitriol and rage.
This is fucking this is toxic waste. This is and then like his mom, who's Evelyn Marcus, fucking stone cold and just caps him in the face instead of trying to like save him. And like, you know, maybe there's a cure, even though if this takes place in the game universe, we know Umbrella has a cure for the T-virus. That's what fucking Jill Valentine uses in Resident Evil 3 after the Nemesis infects her with the fucking T-virus. Like, she's literally saved, but, you know, fuck you, pick and choose our fucking lore or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Al does a fucking self-sacrifice play and blows up the lab for reasons. And before he dies, he tells Jade and Billy to go find Ada Wong, who's hiding out in Tokyo, even though...
Because references.
And because fuck you, even though none of this would make any fucking sense. And they leave with Bert, and the facility explodes. But we know Evelyn survives because, or at least part of her survives, because her fucking body is doing a fucking song and dance number 14 years later. And then we get our cock tease of Tyrant emerging from, or his hand emerging from the rubble. That's all we get of Tyrant in this fucking show. And that's the end of the 2022 plot. Again, we don't even get the fucking zombie apocalypse, how that fucking happens. So again, waste of fucking time, because this show is sure as shit not gonna get a second fucking season. And then in 2036, Billy and Jade Wesker are like fucking smack talking each other, and then Jade Wesker uses fucking some zombie pheromone shit to lure zombies there, and then there's this big dumb action fight, and then giant alligator shows up that's even bigger than the one in the games. It's like a kaiju thing.
Because references.
Yeah.
You clapped when you saw it.
Yeah, and then it gets killed, and then Billy Wesker shoots Jade Wesker and abducts her daughter and leaves. And that's the end of the 2036 section. So again, nothing's resolved, nothing's wrapped up, there's no closure, there's no real
and
plot.
You've lost 8 hours of your life.
Yeah, there's no real plot to speak of. There's maybe like collectively 10, 15 minutes of worthwhile, entertaining footage in this series.
Yeah.
Like it's
almost all Lance Reddick.
Yeah, it's the show isn't even entertainingly bad. It is it is mostly really fucking boring, and like for me as a fan of the Resident Evil franchise, every single time it tried to reference the games and tried to fucking tie itself into the lore, that just took me out more, because they're insistent that this is set in the game universe. It's like, no, these are continuity issues. A man who likes his fucking continuity, right? Like, I can poke fun of fucking continuity in Resident Evil. There's plenty of plot holes, but they're not fucking canyons like this shit. Where shit does not make sense.
Yeah, the problem that this show encountered, other than the narrative felt very disjointed, it was very tone deaf. But the issue that I really had with it was that it feels like a lot of creative decisions were made in dialogue and in character presentation, that it feels like it's trying to draw in a new crowd into the Resident Evil fandom. It feels like it's trying to cast a line out to go, hey, hip new kids of this generation, we know about Rule 34 and all that hip stuff.
But that's the thing. That's not how you... Like, I mean, okay, I'm not...
That's not how you lure in new fans. You lure in new fans with 9-foot-tall vampire mommy.
Exactly. Goddamn right you do.
Well, it feels like by hitting all of the recognizable, lingo, like if it takes place in the realm of the games, then using things like Umbrella, the T-virus, Albert Wesker, they don't make sense because all three of those things in the canon don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
But they are recognizable names and characters, and the white and red logo is so, so legendary that I feel like this is an effort to try and bring in a new wave of people that aren't the jaded 30-somethings that grew up with the game like we are.
Hey.
I feel like this. We're gonna name our young lead Billy with an IE, and she's gonna dress like Billie Eilish and
she's gonna listen
to Billie
Eilish.
Eilish.
Yeah,
And
because
to me,
because y'all like Billie Eilish, right, kids?
And yet,
right?
Yeah, that felt like a very like how do you do fellow kids moment to me.
It's so Steve Buscemi.
if you just like, the thing is, like, even like no matter what happens, no matter what they did, the show would have been fucking terrible. But it would have been maybe less terrible if it's just like, just treat it like the Paul Anderson movies where it's set in its own fucking continuity and the games don't fucking exist. And this is a brand new fucking continuity.
And then just pull whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, then you wouldn't have to worry about this other shit. Or alternatively, because this show feels that way for the most part, make it its own fucking original property. It still would have been fucking terrible and boring.
Here's the thing. I
mean, we wouldn't have watched it, sure.
Yeah, we wouldn't have watched it, and I think even if I had heard like good reviews, if this didn't have the Resident Evil sign on it, like even barring that it's like a bad Resident Evil adaptation, it is a boring series.
It is a super boring series.
It's just nothing.
But see, here's the thing. You said if it wasn't a Resident Evil series, you might
not have
watched it.
Yeah, I know.
So it worked.
So guess what, motherfucker? Yeah, exactly.
When I started this series,
can I talk about the thing that made me like lose all interest in the show?
I just want to make one more thing
first, real quick.
I like talking about fading hope.
It's brief because when I started this series, I did not expect to suffer through a worse Resident Evil thing than Resident Evil Gaiden on the Game Boy Color, and yet here I fucking am. Because Resident Evil Gaiden on the Game Boy Color is a piece of fucking shit. It is objectively the worst fucking game in the goddamn franchise that I have played, and I would gladly replay Gaiden over rewatching this stupid fucking show. Because at least stuff happens narratively in Gaiden. Nothing happens in this show. It is a waste of time.
All right. So both of you already know this story because I mentioned it while we were watching live.
I might have been comatose. So
maybe,
it's fine.
Yeah. So basically, like I tend to give a lot of leeway. I mean, okay, I'm pretty particular about a lot of things, but I do tend to give a lot of leeway in terms of like plot holes in shows and movies, because it's just kind of like, I understand it's really hard to like, wrap everything up nicely and like, make so like,
the stuff, the bow on top.
Yeah, the like CinemaSin style, like, oh, what about this thing here? Blah blah blah. It's like, that's not really. I don't care,
fuck
right?
CinemaSins.
Like, fuck that shit. But, when a film has me, or when a film or franchise or whatever has me so bored that I'm picking up on details that don't make sense, then that means you've failed. You've failed to like provide me anything other than nitpicky bullshit.
Yeah.
So, at one point in one of the early episodes of the show, when we are in the 2022 timeline, Jade and Billy are talking, and Jade mentioned something about how the two of them have never been sick, and how weird it is. It's kind of a throwaway line of dialogue that's just like, two girls like chatting in one of their bedrooms or something like that. And they're just kind of like, yeah, like, this is very strange. And it's supposed to be kind of a hint of like, they're not normal little girls or whatever, right? A couple episodes later, we are in the house again with Jade, Billy, and Simon, and they're trying to solve a Resident Evil style puzzle to like get something that Daddy Wesker left behind for them.
Spoilers: the dog is the key.
The dog is the key. Yes.
Card.
But the one of the clues is something that made Jade sad in the 5th grade. And Billy goes to her and she's just like, what happened in 5th grade? Like, what would have made you sad? And Jade thinks for a bit, and then she's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I had my tonsils out in 5th grade. And I asked James to pause the episode at that moment, because I was like, wait a second. 2 episodes ago, they said they never got sick. Why would she need her tonsils removed? And I Googled it because I was like, maybe there's some other reason why tonsils get removed other than chronic tonsillitis. And the main reasons that people get their tonsils taken out, chronic tonsillitis or sleep apnea, which is another like major disease that you were born with. If you've never gotten sick, I would consider having a major disease, like that literally is your brain forgetting to breathe while you sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I would consider that important enough to bring up in this show, not just a throwaway line of, oh, we never get sick.
Yeah.
So, at that point, I kind of just gave up, because clearly, if the people running the show don't care enough to make that kind of thing sensical, then I don't care enough about any of this.
And
right?
then as also Lee pointed out in our meme chat, there's a scene where they're on a video call, but the video call is being run through MS Paint, and they don't have an internet connection.
Yeah. I actually did some further contemplation on this.
Mm-hmm.
The Paint tab was open because they did a screen fill of green paint so that they could green screen the video onto it.
Oh yeah, most likely.
However, why do you not just hide the toolbar?
or Photoshop in the
Because you
Skype
don't
app?
care. That's the thing. This was not a passion project. This was not a, because I had theorized a little bit that, like, oh, this kind of feels like a script that was like, oh, it wasn't originally a Paranormal Activity movie, but we slapped Paranormal Activity on top and we had the demon show up at the very end. Or, like all of the Hellraisers, right?
Yeah,
most of the Hellraisers.
a script written for a potential sequel to the Anderson series that got passed.
The Anderson movies were the passion works.
Yes.
This is a dude who's literally sitting around going, God, my wife is so fucking hot. And she loves to be in action movies. She likes horror. Oh man, I should write a script. He pulled the Rob Zombie thing, and it's just like, I'm just gonna cast my wife in this.
Yeah.
And he made all the dollars. He made all the money.
Yeah.
Welcome to Raccoon City. Whether you like it or not is a passion project as well. Like, again, the fucking, there's subtle, deep cut lore shit.
Exactly. That's the thing that, there's also a lot of really blatant fan service that's, maybe a little bit silly, but at the same time, like, you can tell that these are people who are trying to adapt something well, right? Like, they're trying to make it good.
Welcome to Raccoon City was charming.
Exactly. They're doing it. One, they're doing it genuinely, and two, they're not afraid to also take the piss out of themselves, right? But not in a like herder Zootopia porn kind of way. In a like, this was silly in the original Resident Evil, but
isn't it silly? Wouldn't it be silly if Leon used a rocket launcher to blow up the monster in a fucking train car next to other people? And people call Leon out on how stupid that was because he almost got them killed. Like, yes, if in a real life situation, as badass it is in the fucking game, it is pretty fucking silly and over the top and ridiculous.
Stupid,
but it's still...
Welcome to Raccoon City even paid homage to those smaller little like gamer only things very effectively. Leon's introduction is he's late and he's hungover. Because if you played RE2, you know that he just got dumped the night before and he got blackout drunk.
Yeah, and that's why he's fucking listening to goddamn Crush. Like, it's subtle, deep cut shit.
Yeah, people are gonna disagree with us. People are gonna be like, "Oh, Welcome to Raccoon City was shit," and it's like,
that's fine.
It was not worse than this.
Yeah,
it was much better than this.
It is not worse than this.
This from a fundamental storytelling point of view is a worse piece of media.
Silent Hill Revelation is better than this piece of shit.
Oh God.
And Silent Hill Revelation is fucking awful. It's fucking awful. It is fucking awful. 100%. And it is misguided and it is stupid. And it's terrible. But it fucking tried to adapt Silent Hill 3. It fucking tried to do something. terribly, yes. This is nothing. This again, because nothing stuff happens in Silent Hill Revelation. It's dumb, but stuff happens. Nothing. I can't stress that enough. Nothing fucking happens. If a season 2 does not exist, this show is 100% a waste of fucking time because there's nothing of value happens. Nothing. It is just boring.
The problem here is that when you have a 2 timeline story, especially where it concerns the same characters in young and old versions, what you want to accomplish with a script like that is for the 2 timelines to play off of each other, to ask questions of each other, and have them answered.
Yeah, like True Detective or something.
Yeah, one of the most frustrating things about this was how often we would cut between the timelines completely unmotivated.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, oh, nothing's happening in the 2022 timeline. Let's see what's happening in 2034. And you're just like
meanwhile at the wall.
You could rearrange every single one of these fucking scenes and it wouldn't change a goddamn thing.
They did a couple of things too where like there was one episode I remember where they started the episode they finished the episode on a cliffhanger of Jade got captured by Umbrella and she's marched in front of this hooded assassin type figure, and the person like pulls back their hood and she's like, oh, you, and then like it ends on a cliffhanger, and then they start the episode with like the flashback stuff and they don't cut back till the end of the next episode, and then when they cut back they replay the exact same fucking scene that was the cliffhanger from the previous episode, and we're like, how stupid do you think we are, show? Honestly,
it's so bad.
Why would you shoot it this way?
Nothing of value.
Why would you edit it this way?
Happens.
Yeah.
You could rearrange every fucking scene in this goddamn show, and it would not change a fucking thing.
Okay, so speaking of changes, though, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the ideas that we had all bandied around as like ways we would fix this, because even though it's a piece of shit, I don't necessarily think it's 100% unsalvageable.
You can fix it.
Yeah, I can fix it. I can fix him. So, one of the big things that I'm gonna start. I have a list of changes that I thought of.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm going to start with, like, the most minor change and go down to, like, the most major change, basically.
Okay.
So my first one was that I thought the future timeline should have been set mostly on the boat. We get to the boat at about...
Episode
5 episodes in, something like that. And this is supposed to be where where future Jade, where her family is, where her daughter's been staying, where like basically all of her crew that she's been like, observing the zombies and getting information and working for, like what she's been trying to go back to, basically. Mm-hmm. We know none of these people. We know nothing about anything that's happening here. So my fix is that you start the plot on the boat. You see Jade, happy family, yada yada, and she's got a mission. Her mission is she's gonna find a cure for the Zeros, right? Mm-hmm. And then you can have little mini adventures, right? Each episode, like maybe they have to be on a boat because they're hiding from future Umbrella who's tracking them down, and they've got this badass hooded assassin that we don't know who she is, we don't know who this mystery assassin is, but like who knows? And they're like constantly being tracked, so they have to keep moving. But, every once in a while they have to stop, and so Jade can get off and do her research. Mm-hmm. And then in those little research trips, you can have, your little like, your liquor fight or your
Scooby-Doo moments.
Crazy Spanish cult or whatever, right? But as it stands right now, we had like 2 episodes with the boat people, and it was literally just like she got a bunch of them killed again. And it was like, wouldn't this be much more impactful if we had spent the entire series with these people? If these survivors had actually been characters that we got to know over multiple episodes? And then, they're going out and doing these things, And yeah, some of them die, some of them don't come back, and it's very dangerous work. And it shows you get to see Jade growing as a character of like, oh my god, is it even worth it anymore? Like losing my family and blah 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 blah. Either way, I think tightening up the future stuff so it was not just a constant rinse and repeat of she goes to a new location, meets some zombies, meets some survivors get killed by zombies because of her, she runs away to another location, and it's just like this. No.
And that opens a beautiful spot for some character development, because if you're dedicating all this time to the boat and getting to see Jade's endeavors to try and like figure out the zombie issue, then you've got her in the future embracing this role as a scientist, essentially, whereas it's juxtaposed with her as a kid of like hating what her father is doing with the power of science.
Yes.
And so you can have these moments early on, make it in the first like 2 episodes where someone in the future says to Jade, like meant to be encouragingly, like, you might be as good as your dad someday. And she'll say, don't you ever fucking compare us.
Ew, yeah.
But all you know about is nice Al Wesker. And it's like, well, what's so wrong with Al? I want to know what is wrong with Al.
That is the perfect segue into my second idea for a fix, which is that
more Lance Reddick.
Well, I mean, honestly, yes, but also the past storyline needed more mystery.
Yes.
It needed more questions and you're already on your back foot when you're telling 2 different timeline stories, and we know that the future timeline, so we know who's survived what, right? Like we know Jade and Billy are still alive, right? Like it's just like that, or we know at least Jade is alive for the beginning, right? So, you kind of like have that element of like, well, nothing is really that dangerous, so what do you do in the past that makes this interesting? Some shows like Better Call Saul do this really fucking well by just having like fucking solid ass character development and like amazing god tier writing that obviously this show couldn't afford. But needless to say, we made fun of the like Wesker kid Scooby-Doo, but honestly that would have been preferable to what we got, which was just this very generic teen drama type thing. But like, what if Raccoon City was this kind of big cover-up where like nobody talked about it? What if there was this element of like, we don't really know what Dad does for work, and then slowly they start piecing things together of like, oh, and they kind of went that direction a little bit with like, they talk to a conspiracy theorist and that guy gets like kidnapped and like tortured by Umbrella. But it's like, I don't want some random extra coming in and being the guy like getting tortured and for information. Like, right? Like, who cares? I don't care about that. What I want is I want to see the main characters solving stuff. Getting information, having questions, and then getting answers to those questions through their actions in the story. But instead, we just get, oh, she goes and breaks into the lab because they're hurting bunnies.
Yeah, you're starting to give me all these ideas for like directions they could have gone. I'm like, okay, dig this shit. I'm just theory crafting on the spot. Dig this shit. Okay,
go for it.
Evelyn, gone. Albert is the head of Umbrella. Fuck it, it's not Umbrella, it's Tricell.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, fuck you, everybody, it's Tricell.
Billy and Jade break in because they're hurting the bunnies. Okay, it's not a dog. Billy gets bitten by a bunny. It's an easily concealable bite, but she's still infected with the T-virus. She keeps it under wraps, doesn't want to let Dad know that anything's wrong and that she broke into the facility. They manage to keep that under wraps until Wesker needs to draw her blood sample and infects himself with the virus again, like reigniting it, which makes him become old Wesker.
There you go.
Fuck the clone thing. It's like he found a way to suppress it, and then by taking her tainted blood, he becomes Wesker again. And
oh my god! And then we just have Lance Reddick.
and then makes the company into the evil conglomerate we know it to be.
Perfect.
Like he has a board meeting where he's like, we're restructuring, and they're like, I thought we were working on this thing. No, we're working on this, you know.
Oh my god. Yeah. No, 100%. And that would actually lead into change number 3, which was let Lance Reddick be Wesker instead of whatever.
Just
whatever
let Lance Reddick be Lance Reddick.
Whatever the fuck he was playing for most of that. Like, let him be Wesker. He's fucking cool. He's a cool bad guy, right? Lance Reddick plays a great villain, and Wesker is a cool bad guy. Let Lance Reddick be Wesker. God damn it.
Yep.
And you know, when they see criticism about this show, they'll be like, oh, it's because we made Wesker black. It's not. It's not in the slightest. He's the best part of your fucking show.
No, you fucking misused him. You fucking goddamn hacks.
You ruined it. You ruined your show.
You had one job. Make him Wesker, and you only let him be Wesker for like 3 fucking minutes.
Honestly, when I heard he was gonna be Wesker, I was fucking pumped.
Same.
I was like,
that was the one thing I was looking forward to.
And we got that one scene of him in the principal's office where it was like kind of leaking through, and you were just like, oh my god, he is amazing. And then it was just like, we just got nothing but khaki dad the entire rest of the time, and
then Uncle Bert.
Uncle Bert is a treasure, but
I'm still on a roll. I'm still on a roll. My brain just keeps thinking of great shit. Okay, so since you've changed the structure so that the future storyline all takes place on the boat, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they keep getting contacted throughout the season by Umbrella. Uh-huh. And Umbrella's like trying to make a deal with them. Umbrella's trying to be cool and be like, hey, let's pool our resources. We'll give you the firepower. You give us the science. Let's help each other out here. Okay, skip until the end when Jade brings the zombie on board. That causes all hell to break loose. That's the fall of the ship. That it's fucked. They're able to contain the zombies like on a lower deck. Make this a 2-episode thing. They lock the zombies down on the lower deck, and they have to push the button. They have to say, "Fine, fuck it, ask Umbrella to save us." And it's the last episode, last stand. They're on the deck of the ship, and the helicopters show up, and it's Blue Umbrella.
Oh.
And Chris Redfield.
Oh my god.
Comes down and helps them because they could just say Umbrella. And then it's a thing for us. It's a reveal. It's Blue Umbrella.
Yep.
And he talks to Jade.
Yeah.
And he goes, what's your name? Jade? Oh, Jade what? Jade Wesker. There's your season 2 stinger.
There you go.
Fuck, I'm good.
Yeah. And
where's my money?
That kind of brings me into number 4, which is that for all the references this show makes to Resident Evil, it didn't feel Resident Evil at all.
No.
It felt like a generic zombie movie. It felt like, why do we have the T virus? Why can it not be a new virus?
Call it Joy. Yeah,
call it Joy. Call it whatever the fuck you want. Give it a new name. Call it Joy, and then it's secretly one of the it's like the I don't know, the X virus or something like
Uncle
that, right?
Wesker's naughty
the J virus. Cat J virus for Joy.
You're right.
That is going to be my one contribution to how to fix this show, because my way of fixing the show is burn everything
it's fire
and fucking just don't even fucking make it, and maybe save Lance Reddick for a different Resident Evil adaptation.
Oh my god!
I hate
him
this.
In the legit one.
Yeah, that would be amazing, because I don't even want it fixed at this point.
Someone CGI replace the guy who played Wesker in Welcome to Raccoon City with Lance Reddick. That's all I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's all I want. I'm good.
That'd be fine. Fucking have Lance Reddick be Wesker in the Anderson movies. Just anything. Anything.
I would take it in a heartbeat.
Lance Reddick chewing scenery with Mila Jovovich.
Oh my god,
that'd be fantastic.
Holy Oh my god, that's brilliant. Okay, but anyway, like I want to see big screen BOWs. I want to see like the crazy shit that Resident Evil is actually known for. I don't want to see, I don't care about a giant fucking alligator. I know that shit's in the games, but the cool shit is like, you know, fucking Lady Dimitrescu turning into a fucking nightmare flesh dragon by the
Fucking
end, right?
Tyrant, where we get cock teased with fucking Tyrant. Do
that
something
was
with
barely
fucking Tyrant.
either.
Give us
That
Tyrant,
was
whatever.
I mean,
Give
well,
us-
it
Tyrant
was like,
like
give us-
5'6".
yeah, he
give
was
us
fucking
fake-
Danny DeVito's Tyrant.
He needed to eat some more protein.
Give us fake Ada Wong and fucking, you know, the RE6 who turns into a big melted meat pile of cum and
Give me fucking Derek Simmons. I would never fucking ask for Simmons.
Give me
fucking
T-Rex Simmons.
Give me fucking goddamn incel I'm mad at that Ada Wong dumped me Simmons. By the way, that's a cameo from JoJo, by the way.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
JoJo.
really noticeable. I mean,
Sorry,
you had the pieces right there. You had Evelyn established as Leech daughter, so let her turn into a big fucking
Turn her
leech.
into a giant oh my god. If the end of the future timeline had been like, oh, they, you know, we gotta take you to Evelyn. Oh, we gotta, like, we're you know, finally arrested Jade and we're taking her to Evelyn, and Evelyn is a pile of leeches, I would have been like 10 out of 10.
I love that it's not even a giant, like, elaborate leech monster. It's just a pile of leeches.
Literally, no CGI involved. Just get 3,000 leeches and pile them up on a swivel chair and rotate it as Jade is marched into the room, and I'm like, sold.
Hell yeah. Now we're talking.
There you fucking go. But yeah, it just like it simultaneously wanted to like ride the coattails of Resident Evil without really kind of like understanding what made the weirdness so charming and so engaging. It was just like, yeah, we're gonna make our own thing, except it's just gonna be the T virus, but now we're calling them Zeros, and now they're fast zombies, and they make animals really big, except like not really, like that's not really the thing, and like it's just like, what? Just give us crazy BOWs. Give us like keep the plot focused on the people. I don't care about a giant kaiju like dinosaur in the game. That's fine because it's just like, okay, yeah, we have a fucking shark in the sewers, right? Like, okay, that's just a set piece for the game. I don't need that translated in real life. The stuff that's interesting is when you see, you know, fucking Wesker punch that plane full of toxins and turn into giant, like, you know, fucking creepy Ouroboros Wesker, where it's just like, yeah, fuck you. I don't even care about my humanity anymore. I'm gonna fuck you up, no matter what it takes. That's the kind of Resident Evil villain I want. God damn it.
No, you get Evelyn. Sorry.
No.
I also would have taken that fucking Melvin from Resident Evil Survivor, whose mom calls up his work and is like, won't you please stop doing those evil experiments and come back home? Whereas it's a fucking Melvin, and he's a fucking supervillain, and his mom knows he's a fucking supervillain, and he gives his mom his fucking work number. He's a fucking lame ass. We gotta
have a show where the villains are Irving from Resident Evil 5.
Yes.
And the fish guy from Resident Evil 8.
Oh, Moreau is too good for this world.
Yes. Irving is too good for this world.
The two incompetent fish guys, just as the main villains.
Use guys!
You're making me look bad!
I've got, I think, the perfect note to end this review on.
Thank God.
Now,
it's a pile of afterbirth?
I'm gonna pull the fighting children apart on the playground.
Okay.
And make them make amends the way children are supposed to. James, I want you to say 3 nice things about Netflix's Resident Evil that aren't Lance Reddick.
No! Come on.
Okay. I all right.
It's not getting a season 2.
My 3 nice things are no.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Very good.
That's number 1.
No, that's it.
That's it. That's all 3. That's all 3. I have nothing nice to say about this show except for Lance Reddick. It is I can't. I just it is infuriatingly boring I could have
don't even watch
accepted
it out of curiosity.
I could have
No.
accepted it if it was terrible, but stuff happened where I can at least like laugh at it, right?
Also, by the way, I did say I wouldn't have watched this if this was Resident Evil, or if this wasn't Resident Evil. I'm going to like add an addendum to that if this wasn't Resident Evil and I wasn't watching with you guys, I definitely wouldn't have watched it.
I'm going to add an addendum of, if I did not watch it with you two, I would have given up in the first episode. I might have even quit when I saw that fucking stupid Zootopia line trending on fucking Twitter without even fucking watching it. Because I'm like, no, man, this is fucking... I can't. I fucking... Like,
some of that shit probably would have gotten me to like watch it out of curiosity, to be like, ooh, how bad does this get? And then I would have been like, oh shit, it's just boring.
like,
shit, it's 8 hours long.
Yeah.
We
It's
briefly...
just those two things, and then it's a bunch of bullshit.
We still need to get back to it, but we briefly touched upon how we watched the first couple episodes of Netflix's Bebop, and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
And I'm not expecting it to get any better, and I'm expecting it to get worse. But even on like just a bare fucking level, even with misguided fucking writing on that show, I can still tell that there was some fucking passion behind it.
And we did talk about it a little bit, that the two main not the two main characters. What's it? The main character and his one side, the big buff dude sidekick.
Jet. Spike and Jet.
Yes.
Excellent casting, and their chemistry is
together.
great.
They have great chemistry.
And
I would watch them just hang out all day.
The look of the show looks pretty great, and they have like little nods that they don't necessarily need to, that don't fucking stand out, like fucking the Wick Donald sign, and they brought back fucking
James,
the composer.
You are black and you are male.
Yeah, I mean the writing is fucking terrible. Don't get me wrong, but at the very least, it has something I can at least. I could, even though I fucking hate Cowboy Bebop so far, I could still say some nice things about it. Like the actors have chemistry, and it looks nice, and the CG is not completely terrible. I mean, granted, the CG isn't completely terrible in Resident Evil Netflix, but that's besides the point. Like, the score is at least fucking good. There's stupid editing choices, like that fucking bit with Tank where they start the thing of Tank, and it's like, okay, they're then just gonna cut into the opening and it's gonna lead in, but then they restart the song as the opening starts. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh,
that was awful.
Yeah,
that's
right.
a stupid, terrible editing choice, but it's like,
yeah,
the music is still fucking good.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, exactly. You're still getting some entertainment out of it, even if it's still far inferior to actually just watching the anime again.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
All right, closing thoughts on Resident Evil.
Eat shit.
I feel bad for the kid actors, because I don't think they're bad. I just think this show is awful.
This show is just
they
the worst.
felt better than the Fear Street actors. I'll give them that.
I mean, at least the Fear Street actors gave us double.
That's true.
I don't have anything from the I no hate towards the actual actors. Like,
yeah,
because they're just paid to do a fucking job.
They're doing their jobs. They did a fine job. It's just that
the material fucking sucked.
Terrible
and
thing.
The writing sucked, and the directing sucked, and fucking everything fucking sucked. Which
that is not the fault of 15-year-olds. So nobody on Twitter don't bully any 15-year-olds.
It's not even the fault of the adult actors.
No,
it's nobody's fault except for the creatives behind it.
No, and don't even bully them. Just have a podcast and make your criticisms, shout into the void, and then go on with your fucking lives.
Yeah. It works for us.
Don't harass people. A Goon Squad special.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's Riddler.
Yeah. Tone deaf, unnecessary, double timeline, disjointed mess. Best part of series is we need to access Dad's underground hidden lab, and they pick up a Pomeranian and slide it along the wall, and it unlocks the door. The less context you have for that, the better.
He was fantastic. Yeah, the meme game was strong. That's my favorite part of the series. The meme game was fantastic. But
Oh, and I
Yeah.
clapped when they played Moonlight Sonata.
yeah. Although, was it you who said, would it have been worse if it wasn't Moonlight Sonata?
Yeah, it's like we saw the piano and we were all going, "Oh no, it's going to be Moonlight Sonata," and it was. But then, like, wait, might it have been worse if it wasn't?
Yeah, like imagine if it's instead it was
Beethoven's Fifth.
No, the song that Evelyn dances to at the end.
What? Oh, that'd have been dreadful.
The piano remix.
Sad piano version.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time, folks.
No.
It's
Not worth it. We have suffered for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
Yeah. Except for
don't.
Mike, he suffered for nothing.
Oh yeah, Mike suffered for no reason because he couldn't be on this podcast. But sorry, Mike.
love you, Mike.
He will get his chance. He'll get his day in the sun.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah. If we're lucky, Prey will continue to the trend of shitty Predator movies. So like, Mike never has anything good to talk about anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So should we do a little weekly roundup and then close up shop?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Who first? James, you want to go first?
Sure. Mine's pretty quick. We beat the quarry on stream because I think we might have mentioned that we were playing the quarry and we liked it. The quarry mostly stuck the landing. It was pretty solid. We somehow kept everybody alive. That was fun. It was
not
neat.
written by Joe Hill. Yeah.
Yeah, not written by Joe Hill. Is mostly pretty solid. Yes, hi JoJo. Yeah, the new TMNT beat 'em up game came out, and that game fucking goddamn slaps.
Yes. I have not played it with you yet, but I have played it with a couple of people, and it's been very fun.
Yeah,
it's stellar.
And there's so much love and passion put into that thing that it's pretty outstanding. I recently started watching anime again, finally. One of which I'm not going to talk. You stop that. Sorry. One of which I'm not going to talk about just because of the fact that I'm dragging Kat and Lee into watching it. And, you say
that as if it's another Resident Evil. It's a wonderful thing that we love watching with you.
It's a wonderful thing, but I just don't want to even say much about it. And yeah, I also I'm a broken down man at this point. I drag you through anything. And then the other two things that I finished off are Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, which is a 13-episode anime and a movie based off of some light novel series. It was mostly solid. It gets really fucking... Stop that. It gets really, really, really fucking weird due to the way that the whole adolescent syndrome thing functions. Basically, the setup is a bunch of teenagers have this thing called adolescent syndrome, which causes weird supernatural shenanigans. Like the first character that the main character helps out is this former child actress, and people are no longer able to see her or even remember her, and except for him. So he's basically trying to figure out why this is happening and how to help her out. All the dialogue is pretty solid and very, very funny, and the characters are very likable, despite the fact that this is kind of a more serious drama. I've seen some people describe it as a tearjerker, and yeah, I can say some parts of it are sad, but it didn't make me fucking ball up or anything. It's good, but it's really fucking weird because of the mechanics of this and the situations. I was telling Lee about some of the more intricate details, and it gets weird, and I like it, but it's I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, despite the fact that it gets kind of convoluted. And then the other thing, which Lee, I've also been kind of talking about with Lee, is My Dress Up Darling.
Hell yeah.
Which is another sort of romantic comedy sort of thing. The best way to describe it is it's wholesome and lewd. I know that sounds maybe a little weird, but the basic premise is that there's the main character, high school student, sort of a friendless guy, and he lives with his grandfather, and his big passion in life is doll making. specifically Japanese Hina dolls. And he keeps this as a secret because first time he expressed passion in this when he was a kid, his childhood friend basically kind of like made fun of him for it and called him weird because boys shouldn't be like making dolls or playing with dolls or anything like that. So he's very introverted and shy and friendless and etc. etc. And the most popular girl in his class, who's super extrovert and attractive, discovers this, and she gets really fucking excited because she is an aspiring cosplayer. And she is terrible at making her own cosplay. And she basically goes, hey, since you're good at sewing, can you like help me with my cosplay and everything like that? And it's basically about, their antics of him making her cosplay and everything like that. It's very, very, very well in depth in regards to like the cosplay community and how like the costumes are made and like the reasons for cosplay, and also like it's very in depth in regards to Japanese Hina doll making. And it's a very cute and wholesome show. And it does do a few things that kind of irk me about like typical fucking rom-com shit, but it's minor considering how very likable the leads are, and it's kind of refreshing to see like all the typical traits that you would see on like a male anime character, like being a super big fucking gamer and otaku and all that shit, on the female character. Like, she is a huge fucking weeb, and she's into fucking lewd visual novels, and she's into fucking Sailor Moon type anime and other fighting anime and all this other shit. Well, the main guy is just like, I just like making dolls, dude. I don't know any of this shit. But it's a cute and wholesome little show, but also has a shit ton of fan service. It's fucking lewd as shit. But it's fun. It's like I said, it's weird. It's wholesome and lewd. It's nothing.
She drives over and picks him up and says, "I lied. We're not going to the Thread store. We're gonna go smoke dabs and watch Akira."
Yeah, it's one of the like. There's a cute scene where basically she wants to cosplay as a character from like the Sailor Moon type show. So he goes over to pick up the DVD box set, and she's like, "Well, how about we like watch the show here?" And it's like this cute at-home date as she like makes him binge like episode after episode of fucking Sailor Moon just so he can get like a better idea on how to make the fucking cosplay. It's cute. Mm-hmm. And it's neat, but it won't be for everybody, but it's fine. That's basically all I've been doing.
Hell yeah. Got to catch up on all that anime.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, and I'm very picky, and this is like I think the first anime series that I've watched of these three since we all watched Erased together, and Erased was the first thing that I had watched since JoJo's and Devilman Crybaby.
You poor soul. You forgot. I reopened Pandora's box.
Well, we didn't
coffin,
finish
I should
it.
say.
We didn't finish it yet, though.
We've been rewatching that Hellsing Ultimate.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Edgy as fucking shit.
Good old edgelord shit.
13-year-old James is very happy at fucking edgelord vampire nonsense.
Hell yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Well,
mine's pretty brief, so I'll just knock mine out, I guess.
Okay.
I've done. Who am I kidding? I reactivated my Final Fantasy 14.
No, oh no. No wonder it's brief.
And god damn, that game is really good. Yeah, it's really fucking good. I am a weirdo when it comes to MMOs in that my real life introvert attitude even kind of goes into the digital world. I don't like partying with people. I don't like doing the like multiplayer part of the massively multiplayer online RPG. And FF14 lets you basically solo most of the content except for like pivotal battles where you do need to get partied with people. But to FF14's credit, the community is very welcoming and very understanding to newer players and people learning mechanics. It doesn't have any of the toxicity that I've encountered playing WoW, Ion, other MMOs. So really cool community. The game is fucking stellar. And then other than that, other than the series that we're keeping under wraps that we here at the Gooncast are still watching, I had a John Carpenter triple feature, which was delicious. All stuff I've seen before, but had to get in touch with the goodies. Rewatched The Thing, In the Mouth of Madness, and Prince of Darkness.
Damn,
Nice. All bangers.
Yeah, and that was that's always good. Those are just fucking killer movies. The Thing still just a masterpiece. I can't understate it. If you're listening to this podcast and you haven't watched John Carpenter's The Thing, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah,
go watch that movie.
Watch it like the second we're done. Now.
And that's about it as far as content.
Yeah.
It's been most of my stuff that's been filling up my life lately has been non-media stuff. It's just been a lot of like school, work, health and fitness sort of shit. Not really digging on too much like new content other than that sweet FF14 goodness. So yeah, a light catch up for me.
Okay. Well, all right. I have a couple of things I wanted to talk about. But I'm going to keep it fairly brief because I think we might do a podcast on one of them if I can convince these guys to also watch it. But first I want to talk about Stray. So yeah, I platinumed it. So I can say I'm pretty much an authority on being a cat.
You can be the
I
white
would hope so, considering.
Yeah.
I would hope so, considering your fucking name.
I know. I'm a master. This game was made. It's my game. It was made for me.
Thanks, Gingy.
But nonetheless, it is a hella charming game that would not be getting nearly as much attention if you were not playing as a four-legged feline. It is like the experience is worth it. It's a very short game. It's only like 6 hours, I think. And I dicked around a lot. Like I got there's a trophy for meowing 100 times, I think, and I got it in the first chapter.
I want to ask questions, but I want to keep them vague because I do want to play this.
Okay.
And yet one of the things I hear about it is that what makes it so charming is like how much work and detail went into making this cat actually act like a cat.
Yes. There are so many little moments that just like, as a cat owner myself, and also just like, someone who likes the animal, it's just like, oh, this is so charming. There are a couple of things that like I wish they had done, but that's more of like just me wanting more out of this game than I think their scope and budget would have allowed. So it's me being selfish, but I'm just like, okay. I want to be more of a cat even.
I was sold when I was watching friend of the Gooncast, Lucally, play a little bit. I only stopped in for like 3 minutes because I wanted to avoid spoilers. But she was in the middle of solving a puzzle, and it involved knocking an object off of a high area. And the cat just does that thing where it looks at the object and just smack, knocks it off the edge like it's a glass of water that you spat on the table. Yep. And I thought, all right, this is charming as fuck. I'm leaving the stream.
No, it's wonderful. That continues. That trend continues for sure. Beautiful. And yeah, I think ultimately Will and I, because Will also played it, Will and I both had some criticisms about just basically like some pacing stuff and a little bit of like, we were a little bit disappointed by like a narrative decision, or two narrative decisions rather. And so, when you do get to play it, perhaps we can talk about it on the podcast for a tiny bit, because I would love to get into that more. But ultimately, like, I think it's a very fun, solid game, and like, it's just really something people need right now. It's like that kind of just like, this is, part of what makes games so great is that they allow for this like, you can tell really cool, intricate stories, or you can just be a cat for 6 hours. And like, that's kind of all people need sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did a really, really good thing, and I think, I don't think it should win Game of the Year, which a lot of people are saying.
There's a big push for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, but a lot of the gameplay is very basic. It's a lot of fetch quests, and it's stuff that we've seen in 100 games before, right? It's just we haven't seen them as a cat, and that's the novelty is that part of the experience, right? Like I'm sure there are indie games where you play as a cat. I've never seen one done to this level of polish before.
I guess an ample comparison to an extent would be, I mean, on the opposite end of the spectrum, Maneater. Granted, that game is a bit like jankier and whatnot, and more tongue in cheek. But like, it's a fun game, and you get to play as a shark. But like, everything design wise is nothing you haven't seen in like an open world sandbox game before. It's just you are a shark.
Yes. Yeah, and honestly, that can be enough. Like, that to me is already like I'd much rather play as a shark sometimes than just another person, right? I'm a person every day. Give me something new. So anyway, that's my review of Stray. I thought it was just wonderfully charming. The platinum was really easy, except for one trophy that I hated with every fiber of my being, and surprisingly, it was not the speedrun trophy. The speedrun was actually very forgiving, and pretty easy to get through because you sprint your little cat legs off. But there's one where there's a trophy for avoiding getting grabbed by the enemies.
Oh yeah.
Or like a minute long stretch of gameplay, and it's a fucking nightmare because they suction to you, and sometimes they bounce and bounce away harmlessly, and then other times they bounce and then bounce directly onto you, and you're like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to predict that? Anyway, go play Stray, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Then the second thing I want to talk about was after we watched Black Phone, Will and I were kind of like, let's keep watching horror movies, and we were just kind of digging through, and I had heard about this movie through the internet, so it was kind of like one of those things where I'm like, I've heard it was good. I saw some screenshots of it, and it looked kind of interesting and weird. So let's check it out. And I was very pleasantly surprised that it was actually very, very good. It's a movie called Incantation.
Okay.
So it is a Taiwanese found footage movie, which already I know I am, and I know I am also one of those people that's I will watch anything found footage, so, obviously take my recommendation with a grain of salt if found footage is really not your thing. This one, however, did something I've never seen a found footage movie do. And it was something that was so interesting that it just stuck with me. And it has still stuck with me. I've still been thinking about it. So, to that extent, I think it's, worth watching. It's just, I have some issues with actually kind of similar to Resident Evil in a weird way. There are two timelines. There's basically a sort of a flashback timeline and then a present day timeline. And sometimes when they cut between them, it's not entirely clear which timeline you're in, which can be very confusing and take you out of the movie for a second once you figure out oh, her daughter's here, I guess this is the future. I didn't think that was the future. Weird. So, but despite that, it was really solid. It had some really interesting things going for it, and it also didn't do that annoying found footage thing where it just lets the actors improvise dialogue because it's found footage, so it's natural. Ha ha ha. It was very intentionally, this woman is filming things. She knows she's filming things. She's talking as if she's filming things.
Okay.
And because I also am somebody where I get really annoyed at the dialogue in found footage movies, but I get more annoyed when I have to read that dialogue, which, if you're watching a foreign language movie, it's you're going to have to do some reading. But this one I was I didn't even care. I was totally on board. The stuff that was happening on screen was way more interesting, and yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, here it is. Incantation. Okay.
Yeah. So it's on Netflix right now. It's streaming. So I'm trying to I would love to eventually wrangle you two for this at some point, if possible, but...
You never have to twist my arm over found footage schlock. I'm down with that.
Hell yeah.
Listen, we watched Grave Encounters 2 together. We can
me.
watch an... Well, that's what I mean.
It's better than Grave Encounters 2.
We can watch Incantation.
Yay!
Yeah, we're not... Yeah, it's fine. I'm always down for watch parties, especially if, like, it leads to Gooncasty content.
Cool.
You said that with the kind of qualifier that you say to a friend of, like, when you want to talk about a really sensitive personal subject, it's like, you don't mind if I bring this up to you, do you? James, we watched Grave Encounters 2 together. It's okay.
You can bring up anything to me.
Listen,
we're practically married.
I made you watch Axum.
There you go. That's the rub.
That's the rub. Like,
Oh my
it's fine. Like, I'm down for and also I'm the asshole who's trying to get us to watch every single live action video game adaptation. Which means House of the Dead and
I'm
Alone in the Dark.
the one pushing for House of the Dead, man.
Hell yeah. Why do you want to live forever, Lee?
To be immortal.
Shit,
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
I'm excited.
Coming maybe one day.
Yeah, someday. We do need to do our UA Bowl retrospective.
Yeah, and
so he can beat us up.
Yeah, and also we still need to do the live action Phoenix Wright movie.
Yeah, we do.
And also
we do.
I want to pair that with the live action Yakuza movie because it's both are Takashi Miike.
Yeah, I love Takashi Miike.
He's
We
great.
got a lot of shit to get through.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right. This has been the Gooncast of a bunch of bullshit and Mad God.
Save yourself.
Yeah. Next.
Just watch Mad God.
It probably next episode will hopefully be much sooner. I know it's been.
Yeah.
Our episode structure has been sporadic for the last few months.
Sorry to keep y'all waiting. Yeah.
But we have. Hopefully, we'll be getting Ghoul Guts back on stream very soon. On the cast pretty soon for Prey and that other thing we were teasing. If we can all get it finished by then, we'll see. Otherwise, we'll save that for another one. And also, Stone Ocean Part 2 comes out in a month. So, like, we got the JoJo maybe at the JoJo episode at some point.
Yeah, we do. We got the JoJo.
And Nope should be hitting streaming sometime next month, and that could be a lot of fun.
Oh, I can't wait for. I actually might break my theater quarantine to go see it, but it won't be it won't be until theaters are less packed.
Sure.
They're packed now for Nope. So
I can imagine.
I'm waiting it out, but I'm so pumped.
And then of course,
so good.
And then of course, because we hate ourselves when it hits streaming, Evil dies tonight again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be conveniently unavailable that night.
Oh, you're gonna be there. You're gonna be there. We gotta get Banana Boat to watch it with us.
Oh my god.
It'll be great.
Hell yeah, we do.
It'll be great, Lee.
Hell yeah, we do.
Look, at least it won't be ancient Celtic runes stopping Michael Myers, Lee.
That's better.
You say that, but have you seen Halloween 6?
Yes. I can't properly put into words how little of a fuck I give about Halloween Ends.
Look.
I really can't.
It's gonna be bad. But we gotta do it.
So bad.
Our viewers will love it.
No.
Or at least Renzi will love it.
Renzi, it's all for you. It's all for you, Renzi.
It's all for you, Renzi.
It all ends in P.
All right, Kat, why don't you put us out of our misery? Take us out.
Okay. This was me, Cat Attack, aka the Attack Cat on Twitch. I don't really stream a lot anymore. That'll probably change once my game ships. We'll fucking see. Lee, what's up with you, man?
Well, this was once again your boy Lee Alder, the Valley Jester. I have not been streaming that much on Twitch. I am fully wrapped up with my own myriad of shit right now, but I will return at some point. Possibly to be an adorable kitty cat. We shall see.
Yay!
And this is James, also known as Saber0307. Unlike these goons, I do stream pretty consistently on Twitch. And back to Ghoul, my annual spooky season celebration starts on Friday. So, if you're listening when this episode drops, feel free to stop by, because Kat and Lee are going to be joining me, and we're going to be suffering through fucking Mad Father together. And if you watch this episode later, then check out the VOD. Check out the Twitch VOD or on my Twitch channel or on YouTube.
Lee, we gotta start. We gotta start thinking up voices to do. James, you can do your what you usually do.
Flip flop inconsistently and then break down.
Break down midway through and start just like replacing words with random other words.
Yeah, well, Kat, you already have one voice.
The devil.
Yeah, because he's back.
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna be great.
I'm so excited.
It's gonna be great. Yeah.
I can't wait for him.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Anyways, y'all take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Be excellent to each other. And Zootopia porn.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, and also get fucked.
Ooh, baby.
Bye, everybody.
Having me some fun tonight, yeah.
Infinite breadsticks.